Business news and business editor Tolulokpo Ogunjobi is standing by. I believe a lot is happening in the world of business.
Of course, as usual, it's a Friday. The market also closed very well. But let's tell Nigerians first that the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, and the airline operators of Nigeria have taken stringent measures that will help put an end to the menace of unruly passengers' behavior in airline operations in Nigeria. NCAA and the airlines made this move after meeting in Lagos, where airlines gave details of how unruly passengers disrupt flight operations, worsen flight delays and cancellations. AON alleges that passengers had at different times beaten airline staffs to coma, severely injured others, and noted that they do this only on domestic flights. Director General of NCAA, Captain Chris Najomo, stated that the passengers would be educated on their responsibilities, as the NCAA will also be joining airlines to enforce penalties applicable for such behaviors. Captain Najomo promised to devise means to end this phenomenon, noting that they have caused harm to flight operations. The National Agricultural Development Fund and AGCOM's International Trading has signed a contract for the procurement of 2,000 John Deere tractors for wet season farming. Now, designing which is one of the 4 mechanization projects of the federal government, entails the National Agricultural Development Fund to champion the deployment of 10,000 tractors across the country. Helen Osamide Akins reports.
The Federal Executive Council in October 2024 announced the approval of 2,000 tractors, 4,000 disc plow and 1,200 tractor trailers, among other farm input, under the National Agricultural Mechanization Program to promote food security in Nigeria. The National Agricultural Development Fund has been mandated to implement one of the 4 mechanization programs of the federal government, the John Deere 2,000 tractors. After months of negotiations with John Deere, it is now signing a contract for the implementation of the project. The deployment is commencing with the first batch of 2,000 units in the first quarter of this year and will scale up to 10,000 in the next 5 years.
We have initiated the mechanization program, the Renewed Hope mechanization program, which seeks to increase and in fact quadruple our production, which we have challenges with because of mechanization.
We also had a visitation to a farm where John Deere tractors, the John Deere model farm, and have also engaged on some very rigorous and intensive negotiations of the terms and conditions of this contract. This has now culminated in us finally coming to an agreement that entails all the terms and conditions agreed to.
They disclosed that the 2,000 tractors would arrive the country before the wet farming season in 2025. The country director, AGCOM International Trading Limited, speaks on the details of the contracts.
The total procurement value is about $70 million USD, and that's the value to get it down to the collection center in Abuja and Lagos. Now, it doesn't just end with procurement also at that value. Training is also part of this. It's at core. Product support is also key. And based on what we've just signed up, we will be readily available to keep on supporting this unit.
Mr. Kiari assured Nigerians that the Federal Executive Council would back up the contract deal, stressing that the mechanization efforts in the agricultural sector will attract the agribusiness investors. Helen Osamide Akins, TVC News, Abuja.
And the urgent need for structural reforms to foster a more business-friendly environment in Nigeria took center stage at the 13th lecture put together in Lagos. Thought leaders and policymakers gathered to explore strategies for enhancing the ease of doing business and addressing the nation's economic challenges. TVC News senior business correspondent Ifunaya Eze reports.
At the heart of the discussions was the pressing need to create policies that not only drive economic growth, but also simplify processes for entrepreneurs and investors. Speakers at the event emphasized that true economic reforms must be purposeful, measurable and impactful, with a focus on enabling industries to thrive.
I must admit that the choosing team at this very critical time is a testament to creating value addition to professionalism, excellence in entrepreneurship, honor and integrity, which are the virtues expected from various callings in prompting rapid economic development of our dear country, Nigeria.
The theme for today is best suited for today. More so when the new tax policies are being introduced. Government policies determine the success or otherwise of our business environment.
When we are talking of economic reform, what we must have as a consensus is that it must affect the policies that affect the economic growth of the country. It must bring efficiencies, and it must lead to stability.
Reform, the electricity reform, reform in fuel subsidy removal, and all of these activities that are happening. And so we thought let's interrogate them. So the idea is to create a platform to inform, to educate, and interrogate.
The Ease of Doing Business initiative came under the spotlight at a panel session, with speakers noting its successes and areas for improvement. They underscored the need for collaborative efforts between the government and private sector to unlock Nigeria's investment potential.
That is how all the physical, the monetary, the legal reforms were put in place by governments can then be internalized, and at the end of the day we can grow the SME space.
Every reform is meant to produce change, and that change must be focused on delivering on the future of any economy.
Stakeholders agree that targeted strategies are key to building a thriving economy that supports businesses and attracts investments. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
And almost finally, the stock market dropped indices at the close of transactions in reaction to strong influence of profit taken by investors. The prime index that measures price movements came down by 0.08% to underscore trade losses that came down on the floor. First Bank Holdings was the biggest price loser with calculation above 2%, followed by FCMB, Zenith Bank, Access Holdings, and Oando. NASCON and highest price gainers while UACN, GT Holdings, Transcorp, and Vitafoam also followed. In trade volumes, the market was able to cross more than 500 million units of securities. And wrapping up business news, crude oil prices rose in early Asian trade today, and we're on track for a third straight week of gains with icy conditions in parts of the United States and Europe driving up fuel demand. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude sells for $74.56 per barrel with an upward price margin of 0.87%. Brent also experienced an upsurge of 0.86% to sell at $77.58 per barrel. Bonnie Light sells for $78.62 with a downward price review of 2.84%. And for the OPEC basket, dealers offer $76.93 with a price decline of 1.13%. Well, that's our package for you on the business desk. Next is sports. Stay with you.